If you take subjects that require many mathematical and problem-solving skills, you must listen carefully. Just as there are certain laws in nature that determine that a ball that is thrown into the air will come down, so there are certain principles that have to be adhered to if you want to achieve success in a subject requiring problem-solving. When you apply these principles, your chance of success will increase dramatically. Let's hear what a mathematician and a scientist have to say about this.
The principles explained in this section are extremely important if you want to do well in problem-solving subjects at university. Irrespective of your field of study, I want to urge you to pay particular attention to this section.
Problem-solving skills are essential for recognizing the various types of problems and for learning how to approach them, and this particularly comes only with practice.
I'm going to discuss a few very important general principles first. Secondly, I'm going to explain to you how to get the most out of your study time, specifically in these subjects. Thirdly, I'm going to take you through a procedure that is the best way to approach problem-solving subjects. And finally, I'm going to show you how to handle tests and exams in this field of study. Firstly then, the general principles. Read, understand, practice, ask questions continually, and get assistance in time. Read that which the lecturer is going to cover in class before the time. Read slowly. The reading of a maths text differs from the reading of a novel or a content-based subject like history. Speed reading techniques are not applicable here. Every word and symbol has meaning and is therefore important. Don't miss the part with symbols when reading through the work. In fact, that is often the most important part. If you do not understand the symbols, look them up in the glossary or where they were explained in the text the first time. If you cannot find it, ask. You simply must understand it. Always have a pencil in hand while reading. This type of text requires active participation. Do every problem that the writer explains on your own, either before or after it has been explained, but be sure to do it. This ensures that you understand all the steps, also those that may have been omitted from the text. If there is something you do not understand, try formulating a question on it. That often helps to reach an answer. If you can't answer the question, you know on what part of the lecture you have to concentrate. And if the lecturer does not answer it directly, you already know what to ask him or her. All concepts must be crystal clear. Don't be satisfied with a vague idea of how to solve the problem. Do all the examples yourself until you understand. Make sure you understand each concept and try setting your own problems. Remember, the test and exam problems are going to look different from those in your textbook. By setting your own problems in which the concepts can be applied, you are preparing yourself to solve unfamiliar problems and to recognize patterns, a very important principle. I have an email here that emphasizes this issue. I think that they picked up a very bad habit from high school of learning methods instead of understanding what is actually asked. One of my major concerns with my students is that they don't seem to have a good grasp on general problem solving. If they are given a problem and told which method to use, they can solve it easily. If they are given a problem, however, and not told which method to use, they struggle to find a starting point. At the moment, I'm focusing on problem solving rather than specific methods and trying to encourage them to think first rather than just leaping in. The crux of the email message of this lecturer in engineering stresses how important it is to first read it meticulously, to understand the nature of the problem, and then to look for patterns by which to approach it. Don't just leap in without thinking carefully. You have to recognize the problem and classify it. You have to practice, but make sure that you understand all the concepts. The proverb could read, "Perfect practice makes perfect." If you understand everything first, working out the problems will help you to remember better, and it will also give you confidence. Force yourself to remember the method you used to solve the problem. Try not to refer to your textbook. Another thing you simply must learn to do, if you aren't already doing it, is to ask questions. First, do your part and try to understand the explanations in the class notes and the textbook. If you get stuck, ask your lecturer. Be prepared by formulating your questions clearly before the time. Ask specific questions. Don't hesitate to ask for assistance. You can't afford to miss one of the building blocks. Tutorial and other help is generally available. I have seen students who are completely lost because they missed only one of the important building blocks. One missing block in your maths house can change your entire career in mathematics into a nightmare. Get help and get it in good time. You are in good company. Even the best mathematicians have, at times, become completely lost until they found the missing links. I would like to share 5 important principles with you that will help you to make the best of your study time. Follow the principles closely and half the battle has been won. It is important that you understand the purpose of homework problems. The purpose is to help you understand certain concepts and to practice and develop certain skills. It is not about the correct answer. After all, the lecturer knows the answer. Always try seeing the bigger picture. Classify problems according to problem types. It is vitally important. If you can recognize problem types, you will be able to solve unfamiliar problems better. The more problems you work through, the easier you will recognize patterns. Do more than is required of you. It is important. It is necessary. Mark the problem you struggle with and get help immediately. Remember, more new bricks are continually being added. Make sure that you understand every new concept or building block and know how and where it fits into the house. Make notes of the help you get so that you can refer to it later. Before finishing with your study session, reflect on what you have done. Think about it. Explain to yourself what every problem was about, what every problem type required of you, how you got your answer, and what the answer told you. This process will help you to understand the material and to discover what you are struggling with. Lastly, it is important to organize your homework and other problems you worked out and put them together neatly. This is an aid to clear any problem quickly, and also serves as a handy guide for tests and exams. One can regard problem solving as a practical skill comparable to swimming. Together with understanding, it can be learnt by copying and practicing. There is no magic key to unlock all doors and solve all problems. I'm going to spell out a general procedure that you can use as a pointer when solving problems. Problem solving is often a case of solving a word problem, the type you have been doing since primary school. Your main aim is to put across the written problem situation into mathematical symbols and equations, and then to apply acquired techniques to solve the formulated problem. In other words, to do the calculations. Start by reading through the problem to get a general feel of what it is about. It helps to put the problem in your own words. Read it again and look for specific information. First, find out what you are asked to find. Usually you have to choose a variable that represents an unknown and express other unknown quantities in terms of the first. Secondly, make a list of all the information given. Make a table, or a diagram, or a picture, or a graph of it. Thirdly, determine the links between the information given and the information asked for. It often helps to think of similar problems you have solved. Remember what we have said about the importance of recognizing patterns. Also, think of the formulas and type of calculations you previously applied in similar problems. Then write down the equations that change the word descriptions to symbolic equations. Establish the habit by first applying this to easier problems. This will help you to do it with more difficult problems. Then solve the equations by using acquired and practiced techniques. First, get the value of one variable and then see whether others must be found. Experience will help you to find the answer quickly. Remember what has been said about practice. Perfect practice makes perfect. It is also important to return to the original problem to make sure that your solution makes sense and to ensure that you have really answered the question. Although this program has a specific section on tests and exams, section 9, I would like to give you the following 8 tips pertaining specifically to problem-solving subjects. Make a list of things to remember, such as problems stressed by the lecturer, definitions, concepts, diagrams, graphs, and formulas. Then make sure that you remember them by implementing the techniques given in section 6, self-study. Stay abreast of your work. Problem-solving subjects cannot be passed with cram sessions. Just as top sportsmen have to practice their skills, you have to practice your problem-solving skills. They don't just spring to mind and cannot be crammed the evening before the test or exam. Build a collection of old test and exam papers and set your own. Work through them and set the same time limit as the actual paper in a test or exam situation. Make sure that you are well rested, relaxed and alert when you are about to write an exam. In other words, have a good night's rest the evening before. Don't learn up to the start of the test or exam. You can, however, scan a summary quickly, like a mind map that gives the concepts. Arrive at the test venue with time to spare. That will ensure that you remain calm. Don't, under any circumstances, become part of panic discussions, and don't talk about the work. Remain relaxed, with an alert frame of mind, and feel self-confident. You have done your share and followed the right study principles that will maximize your chances of success. Look at the EPLE technique described in section 8, Wellness and Stress. After you have received your question paper, browse through it calmly and plan the time to spend on each question based on the allocation of marks for each. Pace yourself so you don't spend too much time on one problem, something that can happen so easily. Spend time on each problem, even if you're struggling. Write down what you know and think. Remember, each mark you can get counts. You must remember to allow for a few minutes at the end to review your calculations quickly to eliminate careless mistakes. This can easily happen and may cost you a few marks. Always regard a test and exam occasion as a learning experience. And remember, it is also a skill that has to be acquired and practiced. You can literally improve as a test or exam writer. Reflect on the process after the time. What can you learn from the experience? And how can you improve next time? If you apply the general principles that have been given to you, you stand a good chance of attaining success, just like a ball thrown up returns to earth.